After 5 years of construction and over 1,000 hours of build time, the virtual theme park, Toucan Kingdom, is complete. My name is Tyler, and I am the builder of this theme park. Join me in this mini-series as we tour the entire theme park and ride every single roller coaster. Theme park simulation has really come a long way since the original roller coaster tycoon games back in the 90s. And with this theme park tour, I am so excited to show you guys how it's evolved. The beginning of our tour starts at the train that the guests use to get to the park. This is the train station called the HARPY Underpass, and it is the easiest and fastest way for anybody to get to this park if they do not have a car of their own to drive. Now, this theme park is one of the largest, if not the largest, virtual theme park built to date. And because of that, this tour is going to take several episodes because there is no way I can show you guys the whole theme park in just one video. Now, this is the entrance of the Toucan Kingdom, where you can find several toucans. In the Toucan Kingdom, there's over 100 toucans hidden around the park. But as we all know, birds aren't real. These toucans are actually security cameras that are watching your every move, so check yourself. So when you enter the park, you enter into the Toucan Plaza, where you have 4 different directions you can initially explore. We will eventually explore every single direction, but let's start the tour by going this way, towards the old-fashioned 60s diner. This is the Roadrunner Diner, where there's a dance floor where you can dance and build up an appetite that you can appease afterwards by getting a juicy hamburger and some fries. We are zooming past the first bathroom. Yes, virtual theme park guests have needs too. Over here we have some food stands and another little restaurante named CHURROS Bonitos. It's a festive place to get your sweet tooth on, and it's right next to the first roller coaster that we're going to be riding today, named the GFUELER. Now, this roller coaster is actually sponsored by the energy drink company GFUELER. Now, the GFUELER is an Intamin impulse coaster that blasts back and forth, sending you up these twisted spires. And yes, this roller coaster in a virtual theme park was sponsored by a real-life company. The company paid me real money to brand one of my roller coasters after them. Some of these newer companies truly understand the future of advertisement, huh? Now, there's 23 roller coasters in this park, and we're gonna ride all of them. And as we ride them, I'm going to be ranking them from my favorite to least favorite. And we're gonna start off the list by ranking the GFUELER, which is actually my least favorite roller coaster in the park. We're starting with the worst first. Don't get me wrong, I still like this coaster. It'd be really, really fun to ride in real life. But every other roller coaster in this theme park is so much better that even a good coaster just doesn't quite cut it. Also, this park is huge, so every once in a while, I'll cut to a bird's eye point of view of the park and show you our current location. Okay, hopefully the GFUELER didn't make you too dizzy, but if it did, you can come next door to the SEDGEWICK Hotel and get yourself a room, which is an actual functional hotel that the guests can stay in. For this hotel, I chose a red and white, modern, cube-like architecture style. And then on the roof of the hotel, we have a resort that has a swimming pool, a bunch of areas for you to lay out, food and refreshments, and some nice waterfalls to give you a perfect and peaceful ambience that'll put you right to sleep. But don't worry, you'll be woken up right afterwards by the roller coaster cars rushing by. As of now, Planet Coaster has yet to receive any updates to add water parks or swimming pools, so this swimming pool is not functional for the guests. Until then, I had to make this swimming pool by importing water textures and putting them on video billboards and setting them inside the pool to make it look like a functional pool. In Planet Coaster, sometimes you just gotta use your imagination to build what you want. But let's just take one little swoop over to this nice little lookout spot where you can bring and cuddle your romantic lover while getting a look at the whole entire theme park. If you're enjoying this tour so far and want to show support, you can do so by pressing that like button and leaving a comment down in the comment section below. With that being said, let's continue the tour. The Toucan Plaza is pretty large and has some very wide paths. And I built it this way because I wanted the potential for it to host parades in the future. I love having like any sort of event that just brings life to the theme park. In the plaza, we have the Token gift shop for the theme park that sells all of the generic Toucan Kingdom merchandise, which is very high quality. And of course, in this theme park, we have tons of lockers that allow you to lock up your belongings in case you're trying to ride some coasters and don't want to lose your stuff. And here's the first theme section of our theme park, the Oriental Garden. This area is inspired and themed after the culture and vegetation that you would find in areas like China and Japan. And the first thing we go through is a bright blue and pink mushroom forest that has a beautiful and peaceful chair swing. And right across from that, we have a cute little restaurant named Namaste Noodles, where you can customize your own ramen bowls with various levels of spiciness. And while exploring, sometimes I'll stop for a second or two in areas that I think look extra pretty, just to let them simmer for a moment. I tried extra hard to make this park very detailed and photogenic no matter where you looked. So almost every location could be a good photo opportunity. But I wanted this theme park to have hundreds of locations that would be perfect spots to pose for Instagram pictures and other various social media sites. And also, since I am such a big gamer, I hid quite a few Easter eggs in the theme park of life-size 3D models of video game characters that you can pose with for pictures as well. Most of which are just inside gift shops or in the line for various rides. Although we do have a few Nintendo themed sections in this theme park. We have the Zelda Castle, we have the Pokemon Park, and we have Super Mario Land. Those areas are very heavily themed after their respective games. I love the animations of the guests, how they all individually get into their own chairs, and then the restraints close around them. It's so cool that this game pays attention to the small details like that. And before we ride the ride, let's take a look at the Mushroom Forest, but at night, where the colors just pop way more vividly. Now this giant pendulum ride is named the Ancient Sundial, and in real life, this is one of my favorite thrill rides to go on. It just gets so much speed, and the fact that it spins as you're on it, sometimes it'll just give you a G-force whip that you were not expecting. And then the fact that it spins also allows you to get a full 360 panoramic view of the park around you. I love how large in scale all the rides feel whenever you're at the guest point of view. The scaling in Planet Coaster just makes everything so massive and realistic in size, and I love that. Alright, coming up next is another roller coaster. This building is covered in a bunch of glowing blue mushrooms, and the coaster is known as the Glowing Serpent. This is the roller coaster that circles around the parking lot and goes over the park entrance. And this coaster's interesting because I was just kind of having fun with it, honestly. I put a bunch of just really interesting coaster elements that I wanted to include on other coasters, but just couldn't find a place to fit them. And since this coaster was so long, since it goes around the whole entire perimeter of the parking lot, I had the space just to add some wild flips. Now it's time to rank this coaster, which keep in mind, these rankings are all my own personal opinion. If you guys want to, you can rank them yourself as well. But the Glowing Serpent is number 19, so pretty far down on the list. And one of the main reasons that is because this is, at its core, a parking lot coaster, since it goes around the parking lot, so it's not very heavily themed. And also, while a lot of these elements look cool, I don't think this would be the most comfortable coaster to ride on in comparison to a lot of the other ones. But this coaster has a really cool novelty, and the fact that it does a 0G roll over the park entrance is pretty awesome. And also, I want to let you know that I have a new channel dedicated to Planet Coaster videos, and I'm going to be posting all of these individual ride videos without commentary on that channel. So if you want to experience this without my voice, I'll put a link to that playlist down in the description. Building up speed, go over the park entrance. It happens so fast, but it definitely looks good from the ground below when you're entering the park. This bad boy is pretty long, and I would say this is probably the sloppiest coaster I've built in the park, which I probably shouldn't even reveal that information, but it's kind of to indicate that it's only going to go up from here. And I like how this coaster kind of recapped everything that I've shown you guys on this tour so far. So yeah, hopefully you guys didn't get too nauseated from that coaster. There's a lot of inversions happening there, a lot of blood rushing to the head, but you guys are fine, right? Right? Oh, why are you running over to that trash can? No, no! Alright, well that was the glowing serpent. I hope you guys enjoyed my beautiful parking lot coaster. But at least it's not built in the parking lot like Six Flags would do. It's built like up on top of the cliff that overlooks the parking lot. Now the exit of this coaster goes down into another restaurant. My favorite type of restaurant. A sushi restaurant. This is Hiya! Sushi. And they have the best dragon rolls with perfectly grilled unagi laid on top. Now across the way, we have the Avatar themed roller coaster, Dragon of the West, which if you don't know, Dragon of the West is another name for one of the best characters, Uncle Iroh, who's going to be dropping some wisdom on this ride, so listen up.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others and the other nations will help you become whole.
Now, the main reason I like this coaster is because it's very scenic and it winds around the Oriental Garden, going above and below some of the paths, and it just kind of like showcases the whole area. And because of that, I rank it a bit higher than the other two coasters so far. And also, it's themed after Uncle Iroh. Who doesn't love Uncle Iroh? So this is one of the main family coasters in the park, but even though it's a family coaster, it gets quite a bit of speed and quite a bit of airtime. You're gonna feel pretty weightless when you're on this coaster because you peek over a ton of hills and it just lifts you off your seat in the most fun type of way. Then if you look at the side of the station on that wall, there's a bunch of flags for the Fire Nation on there. If you did not know, this game does have the ability to import custom 3D models, and I have downloaded hundreds of 3D models that the community has uploaded online and incorporated it into my theme park. So I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to anybody who uploads really cool custom scenery onto the Steam Workshop. It's much appreciated and it helped make this theme park what it is.
Perfection and power are overrated. I think you are very wise to choose happiness and love. Sharing tea with a fascinating stranger is one of life's true delights.
And showing a random stranger on the internet my virtual theme park is another one of life's true delights. Yes, the Dragon of the West. I could not build a theme park without an Avatar The Last Airbender ride. It's just impossible. Now this next little section we're popping up to doesn't have any rides, but it's just a nice little Animal Crossing corner. It's a pop-up that's themed after Animal Crossing, so you can come and take some photos with KK, or you can take a picture in front of one of the cherry blossoms or in front of an Animal Crossing house. We even have a family here that's like super excited. Yeah, this dad takes a picture with his iPhone of this Animal Crossing home because this one has the same roof color as the house that he has on his Nintendo Switch, and he wanted to show all of his buddies on Discord. But this game is just so aesthetic, and each episode is going to have a different time of day as well to show you guys what this game looks like at different times of day, from bright, morning, sunset, and nighttime. And also real fast, I want to show you another cool feature the game has, where you can be in the first person perspective of one of the guests. And here, we can watch one of the guests leave the exit path for the Dragon of the West. Getting to explore your theme park through the eyes of one of your guests is definitely a treat. And I might even upload a couple of videos that are an hour or two long, where it's just a guest exploring the park and us getting to experience that from a first-person point of view. But now let's come down to the Sky Temple, which is a really cool ride that is only found in Europe in real life. But this is an observation tower that lifts guests up really, really high in the air, and then the house that they're in spins, giving them a full view of the park around them. And then the Chinese architecture for the ride also looks really cool and allows you to kind of blend it in with the rest of the scenery really well. And I'm really, really surprised that there's so many people in line for this ride, because most of the other gentle rides in the park have nobody in line. Because of the fact that there's so many great coasters and thrill rides in this park, it's so hard to get the guests to ride anything but the roller coasters. But for some reason, the Sky Temple, they love it. They're crazy for it. And probably because it's beautiful. Yeah, let's continue. We're almost done touring the Oriental Garden. Next, we have another small shopping center named Shopping Zen. You can shop until you feel pure zen. And then after you get some souvenirs, you can come up to the Tiger Paw Chow Mein, which is a delicious Chinese restaurant with a cute little tiger as a mascot. And that is everything the Oriental Garden has to offer. Say bye to all the dragons. Bye, dragons. We'll miss you. There's so many dragons. And next, we're heading into the side entrance of the VOLVAGIA village. A village that is infested by dragons. But they're good dragons. They're nice. It's a quaint village. And the first ride we have here is every parent's least favorite ride because it makes them sick to their stomach, the teacups. However, I think this is Uncle Iroh's favorite ride. Right here we have a cute little jester riding a horse? Question mark? Yeah, I'm just gonna pass him and we're gonna head on to another great family ride, the CASTLETOWN cars. Which, yes, make no sense. There weren't cars back in the medieval times. But this is a theme park. It's culture fusion. We're infusing the Industrial Revolution with the knight in armor days. Horses are useless here. No one needs them. We have cars now. But honestly, it was kind of an accident putting a car ride in the CASTLETOWN, but we're going with it anyways. At least the car has some nice lights in front of it, so it lights up the path in front of us. And we keep on seeing Hyrule Castle in the background. I built the castle to be gigantic in this theme park, because I wanted it to be sort of a centerpiece. The object in the park that you could look for whenever you were lost to kind of like gain your bearings. And the Hyrule Castle in the Toucan Kingdom is much larger, much larger than the castle in Disneyland. The castle in this park squashes that castle. Did you hear that sound effect? But yeah, this ride's cool. It takes you through like the quaint little castle town, and then it takes you outside of the gates where it's all dangerous. There's witches, there's ghouls, everything's trying to kill you. And then you go back inside the walls, you pass the knights that are protecting you, and we're back to the peace and prosperity. Get a nice sunset, we got a fountain, and in Planet Coaster, the weather is always perfect. It's always a nice 72 degrees with 1 to 2 mile per hour winds. So what's funny is I actually had to show you guys this ride in particular because the guests in the park would have killed me if I didn't, because for some reason they're obsessed with this ride. Like everybody's in line for it all the time. I can never get them to not be in line for this ride. Like, I'm surprised that it's not completely full, because usually this line is like packed all the way to the door. Maybe they just like the scenery, I don't know. And then across the street, we got some donuts from our favorite princess, Missy Good. That's the Planet Coaster princess. I didn't name her. And then over here we have some generic snacks like some popcorn and stuff. It's just some good munchies. You know, if you're about to watch this whole entire Toucan Kingdom tour, you might need some munchies yourself. Like, you might need some snacks. This is gonna be a pretty long tour because we've only ridden 4 rides so far, and there's like 25 left. This is a great spot to get some fresh produce. The best farmer's market in the VOLVAGIA village. Would really recommend. No pesticides, the best. And then up here, we have some public transportation with the TUCANA Express, a monorail that takes you around the whole entire park. And it has 3 different stations around the park for you to get off at. It's a pretty good way to get around. And in case you're confused about our location, here's another little overview. Next, we're gonna pop over here to the Dragon Breath balloons. Some hot air balloons that are filled up by hot dragon breath. That's how they had to do it back in those days. I definitely think having really tall landmarks in your theme park that you can see in the distance is one of the coolest ways to like add depth to your theme park. Because there's always something further in the distance that you see that you want to explore. Speaking of, I think it's time we finally explore the thing we've been seeing on the distance the whole episode. HYRULE Castle. She's a beaut. She has a lot to offer, I'll tell you what. So let's start by entering the courtyard. Look at the birds, they fly around. The birds also land on the scenery. It's like one of my favorite things. It's like so interactive. And of course we have the really complicated hedge mazes out in the courtyard with the guards walking around looking for any intruders so they can be thrown out. But of course, we're not intruders, we're royalty, we're expected guests. So let's enter the lobby of our castle. It's grandiose, with the coaster coming through, doing an inline roll right through the center of it. And if you descend down the staircase, you enter the Chamber of the Sages, where we have the Master Sword being watched over by the goddesses. And then you have the stained glass windows of all of the sages in the background. It's a great photo opportunity. People come from all over to mimic Link's pose of him pulling the Master Sword from the pedestal of time. So there's 2 coasters in this castle. In this video, we're gonna ride the first one, which is Escape from Hyrule Castle, which is the coaster that you see on top of the castle itself, twisting around. This one is freaking crazy, and I had to include it in episode 1. Wow, there's quite a few people waiting in line for it. That's awesome. So before we ride this one, I want to give a quick little introduction as to like what's up with it. So first off, my friend Lucagen did some voice acting for the ride itself to help tell the story. And the premise is she's Zelda talking to you on your Sheikah slate, and she's telling you that there's like some sort of trouble happening up at the top of Hyrule Castle, and she wants you to go check it out. And so you go and check it out, and when you get up there, you find out that Ganondorf set up some sort of trap, and then he's using some sort of magic spell to bring the castle down and crash you inside of it. So then you have to escape the castle, and eventually you make it down, and Zelda's able to reverse the curse that Ganon put on the castle, and the castle doesn't fall. So there's a loose story. It's pretty neat. Now, it's time to experience it. Let's ride Escape from Hyrule Castle.
Link, I hear a strange sound coming from the peak of Hyrule Castle. Can you meet me up there to protect me as I check it out? I think the sound is coming from the central tower.
You have fallen into my trap. I'm gonna bring this castle crashing down around you, leaving you burned.
Link, we need to get out of here fast or else we're dead. Quick, I'm going to summon the god's assistance.
Okay, sorry, I had to let the soundtrack just roll for a second. But it's time to rank this coaster. And this one is number 6. It's up there, but it's not even in the top 5, even though the castle is so cool. But hey, that just means it has some good competition is all. A really cool element's about to happen. Both of the tracks are about to collide, and then you do an inline roll to prevent the collision.
Oh, we made it down safe and sound. Fortunately, the gods answered my prayers and reversed the dark magic Ganon was using to bring the castle down. So we're safe. For now. Sorry for putting you at risk. If I had known Ganon was going to attack, I would never have asked you that favor. I must part with you now. Until next time, hero.
I pray someday that we can get an epic Legend of Zelda coaster. That would make me so happy. Now, in case you didn't know, I made a YouTube series that's over 80 episodes long, where I show myself constructing this whole entire theme park from the ground up and explaining everything that I did. During that series, I talked about having a contest where people would draw a park map for the Toucan Kingdom, and a lot of people showed interest. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, I used to love theme park maps. They would usually have the theme parks drawn in such a fun and cartoony art style that kind of pays homage to the coasters, but makes them look silly at the same time. I think theme park maps can have so much charm, and this theme park is so big and has so much theming to it, so I think it would be really fun to draw some maps of it. I mean, it's huge, so it might take a while, but I'll incentivize it by having some cash prizes for the people who draw the best maps, because I like rewarding good art. I'll give more details to the contest at the end of the park tour, because you can't draw the theme park unless you know what the whole entire thing looks like. And I gotta transfer some of the soul of the theme park to you guys, because there's a lot of love put into the Toucan Kingdom. The amount of time I spent building this theme park is somewhere between 1,200 hours and 1,500 hours. And then another 1,000 hours on top of that making the YouTube series about building it as well. So there's at least 2,500 hours of labor put into this theme park, and then even more time if you consider the amount of time I spent thinking about this park while not working on it. The Toucan Kingdom lives rent-free in my mind most of the time. But it's my technological baby that I built in one of the best simulation games released yet. Which I gotta say, thank you so much, Frontier, for making such an amazing game. Planet Coaster is the theme park simulation game of my freaking dreams. Anyways, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this first episode of the tour. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and let me know what your favorite part was down in the comment section below, or give me feedback and criticism. I'm trying to grow as a theme park designer, you know? Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, if I can do it, then 2 can do it. See you next episode.